Chapter 28. On the Hunt. For the first time, Trig took control of his dream. As soon as he knew he was in the dream world, he called out Tenna's name. She appeared moments later, walking along the riverbank, her footprints filling with water. The children embraced, and Tenna cried onto Trig's shoulders. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed. "I didn't know my people could be so horrible." "It's not all Valdemar being evil," Trig reassured her. "Look at Bronley, Selborn, even Pentua. And I know you're not like Emperor Kanto and his lackeys." "But that's just the thing," Tenna choked. She pulled away from Trig and wiped her eyes. "Manius, the fortune-teller guy, he said that to know my future, I had to know my past." "Oh yeah," Trig interrupted. "He said the same thing to me as well. So..." The gears in Trig's mind suddenly clicked, working fast to bring the obvious implications into the light. "Oh, wow," Trig gasped. "That means Manius must have told you who your parents are." Tenna was on the verge of uncontrollable crying, but she pulled herself together just long enough to nod. Then she fell into Trig's arms again. "Oh, no," Trig breathed. "Tenna, are your parents dead?" "Yes," she wailed. "Today, I watched them both die." Understanding poured into Trig's mind like water from a stream. "The Emperor and Prime Minister Vestum?" he said. "No way. Really?" "They knew, and it's my fault," Tenna cried. They knew I had psionic powers when I was a baby. I was the first person to be expelled. Everyone who got sent to Lightwater was because of me." Tenna buried her face in Trig's shirt. "My dad called me an abomination," Tenna whispered. Then she lost her voice. For about 15 minutes, Trig and Tenna sat down at the riverbank. She cried into his shoulder until she had no more tears. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry," Trig told her. A flurry of movement caught Trig's attention. Two of the gods were nearby, a little further up the riverbank. Kumase and Ariha were beneath a tree, cutting down its branches and carving them into sharp spears. Kumase, the specter of oblivion, looked up from her work and peered at Trig. She shook her head in a way that said, "Don't talk to me." "Hey, Trig," Tenna spoke up. "When we wake, I'm gonna give you my keystone shard, but you've got to promise me something first." "You said that back in Venka Urbo," Trig responded, "and that it had something to do with the prophecy Manius gave you." She nodded. "Listen, Trig, this journey we're on, one way or another, we're going to the necropolis. Once we get there, it seems like we're going to meet whatever destiny the gods have set out for us." Tenna hugged Trig, then spoke in a whisper. "Something is going to happen to me while we're at the necropolis, Trig," she said. "Promise me, no matter what, you won't let me step through a psionic conduit while we're there. Do everything to stop me, okay? Even if you, have to hurt me or something, just don't let me go through that final door." Trig squeezed Tenna closer to him and swore, hand over his heart, to honor Tenna's request. The journey to Trade Station Tungle took 3 weeks, but it felt like so much longer. In that time, the luminous frontier had descended into chaos. MSI and Nagyari warships were fighting each other in most systems along their shared border. This renewed conflict was some kind of spillover from the chaos in Soothkasa. Meanwhile, the Sutherian genocide and civil war merged into a single conflict, creating a much bigger problem for Resonance Cascade than Trig first assumed. Every time the mercenary warship crossed paths with a Sutherian vessel, one of two scenarios would play out. The Cascade would ask the Sutherian ship to identify itself. In most cases, the other vessel would not be a participant in the ongoing genocide, and was either attempting to escape or actively helping the SLA fight back. However, there would be the rare moment where the other Sutherian ship was crewed by Valdemar extremists. These crews gave themselves away by demanding to know if there were any Birkin aboard the Resonance Cascade. Whenever this happened, Tactical Officer Roulan gunned the sublight engines, and the Cascade would stage a hasty escape from the scene. On board the vessel, Trig and Tenna, and to a lesser extent Appia, were being subjected to intense training by Panico and the other mercenaries. All three of the youngsters were taught how to pilot the spacecraft, how to maintain its systems, and the basics of astronavigation and space combat. While Appia got a crash course in all of the small arms and light weapons in the armory, Trig and Tenna practiced their psionics. Panico told the children that their telepathic attack against Elix was pointless, but nonetheless inspired, and decided to train them based on this display of power. There are two primary schools of training in initiate-level psionics, the ways of the resonant and the telepath. Trig, you've demonstrated the potential to be a resonant, while Tenna over here has the makings of a proper telepath. I've heard of telepaths before, but not resonants, Trig admitted. Telepaths are the ones who get all of the attention and all of the blame for psionic deeds, Panico explained. I was a telepath and can attest to such. Your father was a master of both fields. So the training began. Tenna learned about techniques that would bend both mind and matter to her will. On the other hand, Trig learned how to augment those around him, to make his allies stronger, and to repair the damage inflicted by psionic attack. Once you practice and become skilled, we might branch out. Trig can attempt telepath techniques, and Tenna may try the resonance school of thought. But you should master these basic abilities first, Panico said. Trade Station Tungle was located deep within the territory of Minamar Specialized Industries. After crossing the MSI border, Tactical Officer Roulan insisted the ship continue its journey in complete radio silence. You cannot comprehend how many advertisements are being blasted at us from all directions, Roulan told the crew. The interlink is nothing but ads. They're filling up most of the view screen in the cockpit. Maybe it's a type of electronic warfare, Anfeld joked. Roulan was not amused. After 3 weeks of hyperspace jumps, the Resonance Cascade arrived at Trade Station Tungle. The surrounding star system was awash with civilian traffic. Thousands of starships were departing the station, fleeing in all directions as news of the intense conflict reached the trade station. A strange dichotomy was playing in the background of this scene. Advertisements for every product and service imaginable flooded the interlink, cluttering the computer screens in the cockpit and weapons control systems, making the war seem so very far away from this hub of commerce and entertainment. A security ship drew alongside the Resonance Cascade and opened communications. Welcome to Trade Station Tungle, an Olenbar man said over the radio waves. We have everything you could possibly desire. Need to refuel? Lowest prices in the sector. Is your crew feeling restless? We've got the widest selection of red light workers this side of Tyron. We've got gambling, food, drink, sports betting, and so much more. And now, thanks to the ongoing events in Sutheria, our accommodation sector has more vacant rooms that they know what to do with. How may we be of service to you fine customers? We appreciate the offer, Captain Cantor radioed back. We are looking for one of our friends who might already be at the trade station. Yes, definitely, absolutely, the Olenbar captain replied. A bigger party is a better party. What is your friend's name, species, and vessel ID? Cantor stood aside and allowed Ponico to take the headset. We're looking for an elderly Nagyari fellow who answers to the name Veldanura. He might have come here aboard a starship named Hualinga. Tell him Trura Ponico wants to have a reunion. The message was sent. Now all anyone could do was wait. Trig meandered around the weapons control room, fiddling with his spacesuit to kill the boredom. Appia noticed Trig was now wearing the gun she gave him on a holster and complimented him, saying it looked good there. Anfel saw this and gave Trig a nudge. Look at you playing the field, Anfel teased Trig. Huh? What's that mean? Trig replied, keeping his voice low. Dude, I'm half Birkin, Anfel replied. I know a Birkin courting gift when I see one. Did you give her anything in return? Trig spluttered, shocked beyond words. But before he could say anything, Captain Cantor's voice sounded over the intercom. Our Nagyari friend is making a run for it. Scope shows the Hualinga doing a 6G burn. Everyone suit up and strap in, Rulon yelled. We're gonna chase him down.